Welcome to CNXR's Wellness Journey interview series. My name is Christopher Hill. I'm the board chair and CEO of CNXR. For anybody that's been diagnosed with a medical condition, often requiring surgery, I'm sure you recall the exact moment when you first spoke with your physician about it. You likely remember what it was like preparing for your surgery, having the surgery, and recovering from the surgery. Oftentimes, that process is quite lonely and difficult. And there's no science in terms of getting you through it. Well, today we're going to talk a little bit about what it's like and maybe some of the tools you can use to go through that surgery experience, both the preparation for it and the recovery for it. I'm very happy and glad to invite Heather Campbell, founder and CEO of Ready, Set, Recover, to our Wellness Series interview, and now as a partner of CNXR. Welcome, Heather.
Thank you so much, Chris. I'm really excited to be here.
Same here, and I've really enjoyed getting to know you and to meet with you, and I know you're doing a really important service, so we want to get into a little bit of that. You know, everybody has their origin story, their diagnosis story, and I know that a few years ago, you had a sort of an interesting situation with your own personal health. Would you like to, if you don't mind, just describing a little bit about that, to the extent you're comfortable doing so, and how that started your journey to Ready, Set, Recover?
Absolutely. It's funny, I'm going to do a little precursor to the story. When I talk about Ready, Set, Recover, my company, and I talk with people like you, or I talk with people at events or hospital surgeons, inevitably at one point they tilt their head and they say, "What's your background?" And often they guess that my background is their background. Are you a nurse? Are you a researcher? And I say, no, I have extensive healthcare experience, though, as a patient. I've been a patient. So it was one of those moments. I had gone in to see a surgeon for some pain, and he said, "I have good news and great news. The good news is the reason you're here is you just hurt yourself. You'll be fine. But the great news is you have something really wrong with another part of your body. And normally it would be bad. It could be very bad, but because you're here, we can fix it with surgery." And I said, "Oh, great." And he said, "Yeah, it's great." And I was feeling pretty good from that conversation. What a wonderful surgeon. What an amazing prognosis. But as I walked out and I went home, there was silence. And I'm very human. And I filled that silence with negativity, because that's what we do. That's just what happens. So here I was being told that I was going to be fine, but not necessarily feeling that way. And so as a person, though, who likes to take action, I decided, well, I should do something. I should do something. I should get some help. I should do something. So I Googled having surgery, scared, what can I do? And Google told me PT, pain meds. And I said, no, I haven't had surgery yet. I don't want to take medication. What can I do? Nothing. There was nothing. There were no programs. There were no support systems. There were no, here's how. So I decided that I should do something about it. And I created a little program for myself.
How is it possible that there aren't services out there? We live in a day and age where somebody can create value, be it education, be it an application, and it's relatively cheap to do that. The publication on the web or via mobile devices. How is it possible, given that 6 billion people on this planet in the state of healthcare, that there wasn't type of solutions to help you through the situation that you were in?
Yeah, I think there are a couple of reasons to that. Number one, within healthcare is messy. Healthcare is hard. Very often when I talk about my company, people say unkind things about their surgeon. How come their surgeon isn't doing this? How come their surgeon hasn't made them, isn't holding their hand this way? How come their surgeon? And my response to that is, if I were to tell you, Chris, I have a bone-eating lesion, it's eaten a third of the bone, it could be cancer, you are most likely not going to say to me, "Oh, here, come here, I'll cut it open I'll take it out. How about the crushed up bones of a cadaver? I'll put that in there and then I'll sew it up. That is a really, really weird response. Like the fact that surgeons and doctors and medical professionals can do all of the amazing things that they do, I will grant them, I will gracefully say, okay, I get it. You go be laser focused on that because that stuff sounds hard. It sounds complicated. But the reality is we know through science and we know intuitively that there are so many pieces other than just that moment of surgery that are going to affect outcomes. Why hasn't anyone been paying attention to it? I don't know. There are bits and pieces of things that you can do. You can cobble things together. But looking at this moment of stress and change when everything can feel out of your control, this is the only program that I've seen that actually helps you take advantage of all of the things that you can do in that moment so that you are actually changing your outcomes.
Understood. And before you launched and developed Ready, Set, Recover, as I understand it, you created your own program based on some of your background. Can you tell us a little bit about what it took to do that on your own and as a precursor to ultimately launching your company?
Sure. Well, like I said, when I went back and there was silence and I was looking and I couldn't find anything, I decided, okay, what do I know? What have I done before? I've done a lot of wellness programs. Every spring and every fall, I look at everything I'm putting in and on my body. How am I eating? How am I sleeping? What am I doing? I meditate. I have a regular yoga practice. I talk with other wellness professionals on a regular basis. So I thought about, okay, what could I take from those? What would be important in this moment? And so I wrote it all down for myself. And then I thought, what's specific to this moment in time? What is going to be happening with my surgery that is going to change my daily experience? How can I prepare for that? What do I already have at my disposal? Things like friends. In Ready, Set, Recover, we call them your surgery supporters. How do I rally those people? How do I, number one, feel okay with asking for help? Because it's hard. Even though I've got people, it's hard to ask for help. How do I get okay with that in my own mind? And then number two, how do I actually invite them in? So that's what I did. I looked at the elements that were going to be specific to this moment in time. I looked at things that I could borrow from other wellness programs that I had already done. The beauty and the validation of all of it was actually at the end, after I had recovered and I was back in my surgeon's office. I had actually no PT. I had no pain meds. So Google was wrong. And he looked at me and said, your recovery has been amazing. And I said, I agree. And he said, you were a part of it though. I really wish all of my patients could be like you. I wish they would take actions too. And it was in that moment that I thought, okay, I've got to go do this.
And do you get the sense, we talked about some of the challenges that physicians, healthcare professionals have, a lot of it's time management and whatever. From that conversation, did you really get the sense, and through your experience in other cases, that the medical professional really wants there to be a better experience, sees a value in a better experience, but it's somehow prohibited for maybe time management, other issues of not being able to do it themselves? Is that what you're seeing?
Absolutely. There has not been a medical professional that I have talked with who has said, oh, that's a bad idea. No, there hasn't been one person who has said, oh, I don't want my patients to feel emotionally ready. Absolutely, this is what people want. The reality of the hoops, the checking off of these things, the recognizing the insurance side, what they have to go through to get us into surgery is incredibly difficult and complicated. What I'm actually seeing is physicians and hospitals absolutely saying, yeah, we would like these partnerships. We would like to be able to support our patients in this way. There are a few, I will say, I will not name any names. There are a few who have said, actually, which has made me laugh, I can see the benefit for this. Absolutely. Not for my patients, because I'm absolutely there for my patients and my patients don't need it. But for the other surgeons, I could see that that their patients could benefit from it. No matter what, though, I am really, I find it gratifying, and I feel it's wonderful to know that our medical teams are coming from the place of, we want our patients to succeed. We want our patients to get better.
It's a very important point. I mean, we're in the $9 trillion healthcare business in terms of the market size, as you know. It's critical. It's at a critical stage where I don't think anybody feels like they're being well serviced in a post-pandemic world, even with the advent of telehealth and what have you. It's certainly there's a need for it. There'll be a growing need for it, of course. It is important that the doctors and the physicians that you spoke to, and certainly that we've spoken through the SynDXR, they realize that patient engagement is critical. The question is, I don't know if we have the answer to this, what are the tipping points to have that breakthrough? But maybe part of it is some of the services that you're offering. Before we get to that, there was one part of it at your journey that I want to focus on, and you touched on it, which is that not only was it important for you to come up with a personal plan pre-surgery, you see time and time again where people will have the surgery and then they're kind of on their own, right? They come home and maybe there are things to read, maybe there's things to videos to see or whatever, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of focus before Ready, Set, Recover on the post-surgery protocol, best practices, routines when they're on their own after the surgery. Can you speak a little bit to that part of the challenge?
Sure, absolutely. What you're talking about is so interesting. We had one person reach out to us who told us that once the program was actually over, the program is 24 days. It starts 16 days before surgery. We can adjust that if someone needs and double that up to 8 days if necessary, and then goes 8 days day of surgery and after. You can continue after that with healthy habits if you would like, and a continuation of the program. That actually came about because someone had reached out to us and said, I was sad when the program was over. They just talked about the fact that they had a fabulous support system. Their family was wonderful. But when they came home from the hospital and surgery was over, it wasn't over for them. They were recovering. And what Ready, Set, Recover did was every day knocked on their inbox. Hi, this is still happening. Still going on. Today, here's what little thing you're going to focus on. There's a dance that happens in our medical system of understandably not wanting to make people stressed. So you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. What is surgery? Oh, it just means don't eat after midnight, come in, and you're going to be sent home that day or 2 days later. It'll take you a while to recover. I understand the minimizing. I understand the desire to not make it a big deal. But surgery takes time and energy. And you can either give it all of the time and energy it deserves and needs, or it will take more. So what we are doing is helping people look at, okay, what are you going to need? One of the action steps in the program is the plan for your house after you're home. And we really have you think about, if the surgeon has said you can't lift your arm for 2 weeks, is your favorite mug up on the top shelf? If your surgeon has said you're going to recover in 2 to 4 weeks, we really have you look at, okay, they said 4 weeks, possibly, not just 2, because inevitably when someone hears a range, they don't hear the last number in the range. They only hear the first. And then they think, but actually, you know what? Those studies that they do on these people for this thing, they probably, some of them are not very good. I'm probably a lot healthier and better. So if it actually takes 2 weeks, it'll probably take me half of that. So it'll probably take me 1 week. So now when you're a week in and you're not recovered, you're upset because in your mind, you've changed what the outcome should be. We are constantly having you look at reiterating what the plan is and recognizing your piece in it. And that is pre and that is post. Those are both equally important.
Well, let's talk about Ready, Set, Recover. I really applaud your realizing from your own diagnosis, coming at it from a patient perspective, creating your own protocol, doing your own research for yourself. I think clearly, as a fellow entrepreneur, some of the best successful companies came where somebody said, look, there was a problem, and I saw the problem because I went through it. I tried to solve it for myself, and I realized that, you know what, other people can benefit. And clearly that was your path. So let's talk about Ready, Set, Recover. How did you go from doing it for yourself to saying, you know what, I'm going to do it for others, setting up the company? And then if you could spend a little time on what exactly is it? What does Ready, Set, Recovery do? What are the programs? Who's it targeted to? How do you interface? That sort of thing.
Sure. As you said, with the entrepreneurial journey, there were many steps. I first created what I like to joke was the crayon version. It was a push email that I would send to people, and it just was an email with thoughts and information and a suggestion. And from that, people said it changed their lives. I knew, though, that in order for it to really become a company, for it to be something that was actually a business, that it needed to be online. It needed to be an enveloping, self-guided, something that you could do on your phone, on your laptop, on your computer, however you wanted to get the information, your time, your comfort. And so I know I needed help with that. And a serial entrepreneur who is so focused on the user experience came in and said, I got this. I want to do this. This needs to happen. This should happen. So we have taken painstaking attention to how will it feel in that moment when you're already scared to be doing this online. The program, like I said, is 24 days. We've taken the gold standards of stress reduction and pulled them together in this platform so that anyone having any kind of surgery can use it. And that's important. This is not you're having knee surgery. What kind of knee PT do you need to do? And what are you going to do for your knee? This is, you are a human being and you are having surgery, and it's going to feel like everything's out of your control, but it's not. There are so many things in your control, and we want you to take that control. We want you to do that in a way that gives you power, that gives you energy, that makes you feel positive, and ultimately helps you heal. So it's things like positive narrative. One of the first steps in the program is we have everyone write the story of your surgery, because when you're having surgery, you tell people. You tell people over and over and over again, sometimes because of logistics, sometimes because you want to share. When I told people my story, I said it the same way like I said it to you in the beginning: good news, great news, good news, great news. I could have said, there's a bone-eating lesion. It's eaten a third of my finger. It might be cancer. It could shatter at any second. Number one, which one of those do I want to hear 1,000 times? Good news, great news, or bone-eating, cancer, lesion, shatter? I want to hear the positive. I want dopamine being coursing through my body, not cortisol. And number two, what kind of a response do I want to elicit to the person listening to me? Do I want them to say, oh my God, cancer. Oh my God, I know someone who had that. It was awful. I know someone who, no, I don't want that. I want, oh, so this is good? Yeah, it's good. So those are the types of things that we are doing. We are helping people look at things that are going to happen in the course of this experience that are on the human side. And how do you take actions that will be helpful for you? The other beautiful thing about the program is, while we are focused on the patient, that is the participant in the program, really the benefits of this benefit everyone involved in surgery. So when we are helping create less stressed patients, we're also creating more compliant patients. We're also creating patients who show up on time, who actually read the instructions, who recognize the things that they are supposed to and not supposed to do, and who are coming at it from a perspective of, I'm a partner in this. I have agency in this. I have an opportunity in this. I get to play a role in this.
So as you're in a compelling way engaging the patient through this thing, this journey that they're on, you're really also helping the physician, right? The physician
Completely.
sees more compliance, less
Completely.
cortisol, as you say, which is very important here, that they've maybe stuck with protocol. And there must also be something where the physician feels, whether a nurse practitioner or whoever it may be, feels that when they let go of the patient and let the patient go home and recover, that they're in good hands with Ready, Set, Recover. And there's a
Yes.
long-term plan around that. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. We, again, on a personal side, my daughter had to have surgery and she's absolutely fine, but she needed surgery. So we're in the pre-op and they're all buzzing around and doing everything and moving. And at one point, one of the nurses stops and looks at me and says, "Mom, you've really been amazing during this." And I said, "Thank you." And she said, "Your daughter too." And I think my child at that moment was, doing breath work while they were putting in an IV. And I said, "Well, thank you. I have a company that helps people get ready for and recover from surgery." And you could see the weight that I had lifted off of her shoulders and everyone else in that room, because the energy that we add in that moment absolutely is going to affect the outcome of that surgery.
That
So,
a profound statement, right? Not only do you help on the logistics of getting through, but you know that if they have less cortisol, if they have more encouraging environment, they know that there's a protocol afterwards. The efficacy of the surgery of itself, even though you're not the surgeon, will
yes,
benefit, and you feel confident about that. And I feel confident just listening to you two. That's a very human response that will result in a better medical result. Is that right?
yes, absolutely. It's again, thinking of all of the constituents, this helps. It also helps employers. And I was talking with an employer once about the potential of adding this into their EAP. And I said, "So here's the thing. I absolutely believe that you want, number one, your employees to get better. I think you are a very good human being. And your first thought would be, I want them to get better. I also think, number two, you're a very good business person. And you recognize that if your employees are not, first of all, freaking out over this, leading up to it, which gives you pre-absenteeism, they're not paying attention to work, they're thinking of this, and they heal faster and they are back in work, that hits your bottom line. So number one, I believe you are a good human being. But number two, I think you're a good business person."
Excellent. And if this became both referred by a physician, but also potentially as a benefit from a corporation for the employees, another way to go to market. And I know you're exploring all of that, which is great. Could you tell us a bit how, just to finish up here, it's such a compelling story. And I know you've done a lot of great work with Ready, Set, Recover. I'm very happy that Cindy XR can partner you with that for the benefit of patients throughout the world, really. How do they get to know you a little bit more? How do they get to know the product? Maybe a little bit of the pricing, or what
Sure.
else can you impart in terms of people interfacing with you and your organization?
Sure. So you can go to our website, readysetrecover.com. It has the story behind us, what we're doing. You can go in and you can, there's a video that shows how the program actually works, what it looks like. Also, in terms of being available, it is available. It is available for everyone now. It costs $149. People can go in and sign up. You can buy it for yourself. You can buy it for a loved one. It's a better gift than some flowers. But really, my goal, again, back to the business side, is unfortunately, patients often don't know that they need us until surgery is over. The thing that I hear over and over again, which is so hard for me, is, "Oh, I wish I knew about you 6 months ago. That would have been so helpful." And in my head, I think, yeah, I wish you had known about me 6 months ago too. So really, where we are focused is getting to the top of the funnel. My hope is that when you hear the words "you need surgery," that you hear two things after. Number one, your surgeon saying, "I'm really good at this. I'm going to take care of the medical side." But then I hope that the surgeon says, number two, "You're really important in this as well." We have a program that we work with, Ready, Set, Recover. You're going to do it. It's easy. It's actually kind of fun. And it's going to help your outcomes. So that's what I'm focused on, partnering with surgeons, ambulatory surgery centers, medical professionals, to get the word out that way and to work with it. Ultimately, my goal is that insurance will pay for this. And so we're also doing a lot of pilots right now and partnerships to get the data to show what we've seen anecdotally, which is less stress, fewer complications, higher HCAP scores, patient satisfaction, less burden on staff, fewer complications, shorter hospital stays. These are the things that we are seeing. I need the data to actually let all of the people say, yep, check, check, check. Now we can pay for it.
Well, I can't think, you mentioned a gift. I cannot think of a better gift for somebody to have either directly or through a loved one to interface with Ready, Set, Recover. I can't thank you enough, Heather, for sharing your journey, your personal journey, and that of your daughter, and how you got to the point where you're helping others. One of the reasons why at CNDXR and through CNDXR TV, we wanted to highlight some of the people that we meet in the course of our journey at CNDXR to help with patient engagement, and you were certainly one of them, and very inspiring. And I certainly hope that folks that see this, really contact you, Heather, and for the benefit of either their employees, their patients, or themselves. So thanks again for your time, and I really appreciate getting to know you a bit more.
Thank you. I've really enjoyed it.
Chris. Thanks a lot for having me.